Hello and welcome to MTS. In this class, I am going to show you how to build a virtual machine using the Type 1 hypervisor VMware. As a student here at MTS, when you enroll, you'll be given your username and password to access several systems, and one of those systems are our servers that host our virtual machines. When you are given your username and password, you will also be given a server number in which to build your virtual machine on. When you are told which server to build your virtual machine on, you will ask to access that server with the following website. MTS VM, the server number, in this case I'm going to use 103.mtsclass.com. When you type in the host name to the server, you will be brought to a login page that looks like this. On this login page is where you will enter your credentials that were given to you. Those credentials follow this format. First dot last name, and you will be given your password. Once you log into VMware, you will come over to the tab or the section that says create a virtual machine. You will select this tab and then you will go through the process of creating a virtual machine. On the first selection, you want to create a new virtual machine. Select next. Select the name and guest OS. The name will be your first last name. The compatibility will remain the same. The guest OS family will be Linux, and the guest OS version will be CentOS 6 64-bit. You will select next. You will have one option to choose the storage on which to build your virtual machine. You will select next. And on the customized settings, you will build your virtual machine using these settings. You will give it one CPU. You will give the memory 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is 1024 megabytes. You would give the hard disk 12 gigabytes. You would select the drop down icon next to the hard disk and choose thin provision. You will then scroll down to CD DVD drive and select the drop down icon next to host device, and you're going to choose data store ISO file. You will be brought to a page to select an ISO to install. You want to scroll down to ISO, and then you want to select the one that says CentOS 6.10 x86_64. You will select that. Once that is done, you will hit next. The last page is just a summary of all of the configurations that you have made for your virtual machine. You will hit finished. Once you hit finish, your virtual machine is built. In order to see your virtual machine, you're going to come over to the left side of the web page and select virtual machines. From the list of virtual machines that are already built, you will scroll through the list and look for your name. I just created first.last name, so I would highlight it here. Once selected, you would choose power on. Now that the virtual machine is power on, you are going to install the operating system to the virtual machine. So go to console and select open browser console. Make sure you move your mouse into the small window that's created and click inside the window. You want to install or upgrade an existing system. It will go through some checks and then it will bring you up to the next page. On the next page after the check, it will say choose skip to skip the media test and start the installation. You want to choose skip. So you have to use the arrow keys to navigate to these selections. So let's skip and hit spacebar. Brings you to the CentOS 6 installation. You want to select next. You cannot use your mouse to do so in here. When you try to use your mouse, you may be able to use your mouse, but if you're not able to use your mouse, you're going to have to use the arrow keys and your spacebar to select. So I am unable to use the mouse. So since next is already highlighted, I'm just going to hit the spacebar. So I choose my language, which is English. I choose my keyboard layout, which was also English. Hit spacebar. And I'm going to leave the basic storage devices option selected and hit spacebar. The next option, storage device warning, I want to discard all my data. So I'm going to use the arrow key and move the highlighted area over to the left where it says yes, discard any data, and hit spacebar. The host name of the machine will follow the same format as the name of the machine, which is going to be your first, last name. From here, I want to use the tab key to go down to configure network and hit spacebar. Now I want to use the tab key to go over to where it says wired. Once wired is highlighted, I use the arrow key to go down and select system etho, and then I hit the tab key to go over to the side, to the right side of system etho. I want to choose edit. Once edit is highlighted, I hit the spacebar to select it. In here, I'm using my tab key to navigate down. The first option, connect automatically. Once that is highlighted, I want to hit the space bar to select that option. Then I'm going to use a tab to go down to wired. While I am on wired, I'm going to use the right arrow key to move the highlighted portion over to IPv4 settings. I'm now going to hit the tab key to go down to the method. Once the method is highlighted, I'm going to use the arrow keys to select manual. Once manual is selected, I'm going to hit tab and go down to the addresses. I want to ensure that the add selection is highlighted, and I will use the tab key to do so. Once the add selection is highlighted, I'll hit the space bar to add in the information. The address is going to be the IP address that was issued to you upon enrolling into the program. So in this case, my IP address is going to be 10.1.12.149. The net mask will always be the same. The net mask in this case will be 255.255.0.0. And the gateway in this case, in your case, when you build your virtual machine, will be 10.1.10.1. Once that is done, I will hit the escape key to get out of the addresses box and use the tab key to go down to DNS servers. On the DNS servers box, I will type in this IP address, 10.1.10.252. Use the tab key to go to search domains, and the search domain that we use here is mtsclass.com. I will tab down to apply and hit spacebar. Once that is done, I will keep hitting the tab until close is selected and hit spacebar to accept it, and then I will tab over to next and hit spacebar. I am on the East Coast, so I'm going to use the New York time zone. Hit next. It's going to ask for a root password. Your instructor is going to tell you what you should use for your root password. I'm going to create a simple password for the root password, but you will be told what to set as your root password. I will hit tab down to next and hit spacebar. Again, mine was simple and I want to use it anyway. Which type of installation would you like? I want to replace all existing Linux systems. And since it's already selected, the next button is already highlighted, so I'm going to hit spacebar. And now on writing storage configuration to disk, I want to arrow over to write changes to disk. Select spacebar to select that option. On the next page, the default installation of CentOS is a minimum install. You can optionally select a different set of software now. I want a graphical user interface desktop, which is already selected by desktop being selected. So I'm just going to hit the space bar to select next. And at this point, it's going to go through the process of installing the operating system. Now the installation is finished, you're going to have to tab over to the reboot section. Once the reboot is highlighted, hit spacebar. It's going to reboot the server. And after the server goes through the reboot process, you will be brought to a welcome screen. So let's go through the welcome screen. The first tab, you want to highlight forward and hit spacebar. And the next tab, which is a license agreement, you want to highlight forward and accept that. Make sure that yes, you agree it's accepted. Create user. This is where you're going to create the the first user other than root on the server. This is going to be you. So the username is going to be the same as the host name. First dot last name. You will put in your full name, for full name, and then you would enter your Active Directory credentials or the password that was issued to you to log into VMware, just to keep things consistent across the board. And you're going to tab down to forward, select next. Let me hit the space bar. You can leave the date and time as it is. We can configure that later in the server once it's up and running. So once forward is highlighted, hit space bar. You will get this warning. Just hit OK and hit finished. Once you select finish, it will bring you to the login screen. You can select first that last name. You can now use your mouse in here and type in your password that you just gave to that user and log in, and you will be brought to the desktop of your virtual machine. Right here next to the speaker icon, you have two computers facing back to back. This is your network connection. There is no X, so that means it's connected. If you go to applications, system tools, and terminal, that's how you access the terminal while using a virtual machine on VMware. You can come here and you can drag the terminal to your desktop. That concludes this class on how to build a virtual machine in VMware. Thank you for watching.